Imagine watching $50 million drain out of a system you built, and there's nothing you can do. No button to press, no call to make, no way to stop it. That's exactly what happened to Christoph Jentsch on the morning of June 17, 2016. He woke up to a flood of Slack messages, then a phone call. He opened his laptop, pulled up the transaction logs, and watched his life's work empty itself in real time. But here's the most insane part. The person doing it wasn't breaking any rules. They were following them perfectly. To understand this story, you need to understand one idea. Code is law. In 2013, a 19-year-old named Vitalik Buterin published a white paper describing something that had never existed before. A programmable blockchain. Not just a system that records transactions, a platform where you write rules, lock them into code, and let them run automatically. No banks, no lawyers, no middlemen. Jentsch was a software developer. He read the whole document, then read it again. And then he opened his laptop and started building. He started with smart contracts. A smart contract is exactly what it sounds like. A contract made of code. It holds money, it executes rules, and once you deploy it, it runs. Nobody can stop it. Not a government, not a judge, not even the person who wrote it. Jentsch loved this idea. He thought about vending machines. You put in money, press a button, get your item. The machine doesn't care who you are. It doesn't make exceptions. It just follows its instructions every single time. Now, imagine that vending machine holds hundreds of millions of dollars and runs an entire organization. That was his dream. By 2016, Jentsch was ready to build the biggest thing he'd ever attempted. He called it the DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. The concept was simple. People send money in, they get voting tokens back. Then they vote on how the money gets spent. No CEO, no board of directors, no one skimming off the top. Just code executing whatever the majority decides. On April 30th, 2016, the fundraising opened. The first day was huge, the second day was bigger. Within weeks, the DAO had raised $150 million. 12 million ETH, more money than any single smart contract had ever held in history. Jentsch had done it. The vision was real. The code was running. But somewhere in those thousands of lines of code, there was a gap. A tiny gap, and someone had already found it. 8 days before the attack, a researcher named Peter Vicens published a warning. He had found a flaw in the withdrawal function, the part of the code that lets investors take their money out. The flaw worked like this. When you request a withdrawal, the contract first sends you the money, then updates your balance. 2 steps, in that exact order. Vicens realized that if you interrupted the process after the money was sent but before the balance updated, you could ask again. The contract would check your old balance, see you still had funds, and send again. You could loop this over and over, draining the contract dry. He posted the warning publicly. Tens of thousands of people had money inside the DAO. Most never saw it. 3 days later, Jentsch's co-founder Stefan Tuul posted a public response. His message was short and confident. The DAO funds are not at risk. The contract is safe. He was wrong. And he had 4 days left to be right. 3:34 a.m., June 17, 2016. Somewhere, an anonymous contract deployed on the Ethereum blockchain. No announcement, just code going live on a public network where anyone could see it, and no one could stop it. It sent a single request to the DAO's withdrawal function. The DAO checked the balance. Valid, it sent the Ether. Then the contract asked again. Same request. The DAO checked the old balance, still there, not updated yet, and sent again, and again, and again. Think of an ATM that gives you cash before the bank records the withdrawal. Every loop was legitimate. Every loop was exactly what the code allowed. The ether poured out, loop by loop. Each one valid, each one unstoppable. Within hours, $50 million was gone, sitting inside a child contract that the attacker controlled. Jentsch stared at his screen. He traced every line of his own code. He saw it, the gap between sending and updating. He had written this function. He had reviewed it. He had deployed it. He tried to do something. There was nothing to do. No pause button, no emergency stop, no admin key. He had built the contract to be unstoppable, because that was the whole point. A contract no one could interfere with. Not a regulator, not a government, not even him. He called the miners. Nothing they could do, he called the exchanges. The money hadn't moved yet. Nothing to freeze. He opened his code editor and tried to write a counterattack. 30 minutes later, he closed it. The attacker's own contract had rules that blocked every move. Then the drain stopped. Not because anyone stopped it, because the attacker chose to pause. And under the DAO's own rules, those funds were now locked inside a 27-day waiting period before they could move anywhere. The attacker had 3.6 million ETH and a 27-day window to watch the world react. Then a letter appeared. No name, no apology, just an argument, and it was airtight. The split function permitted recursive calls. Nothing in the contract prohibited them. The ether collected was rightfully theirs, awarded by the explicit logic of the contract. Any attempt to reverse this through a protocol change would be theft. Then came the line that hit Jentsch like a fist. Code is law. The attacker wasn't arguing against his philosophy. They were quoting it back at him. Every principle he had built the DAO on, immutability, neutrality, the finality of code, was now being used to defend the attack. The argument was legally precise, ideologically consistent, and completely correct. Someone had stolen $50 million using nothing but his own words. Now Ethereum faced a decision that would split the community forever. Fork the chain, rewrite history to redirect the stolen funds, or let the code stand and accept the outcome. The debate was brutal. One side said the DAO was an experiment. Ethereum itself was fine. Let the attacker win and you tell the world this platform can't protect anyone. The other side said if the chain can be rewritten once, it can be rewritten again. A blockchain that bends is just a database with extra steps. The vote ran for 2 weeks. The result was clear. Fork. On July 20th, 2016, at block 1,920,000, the Ethereum chain split into two. On one chain, the stolen funds were redirected. Investors got their money back. On the other chain, nothing changed. The attacker kept everything. That chain got a name: Ethereum Classic. The attacker was never identified. The coins sat in those addresses, publicly visible, flagged by every analytics firm in the industry. In 2017, small amounts moved. Analysts flagged it within hours. Then it stopped. Nothing has moved since. The money is still there. But the real legacy isn't the money. Before June 17, 2016, smart contract auditing barely existed. After it, an entire industry was born. Today, a serious audit costs millions of dollars. Every major crypto project pays it. Every line of code gets scrutinized before deployment. Every dollar spent on that scrutiny is a bill that traces back to one morning, one gap in the code, and one person who read the rules more carefully than the person who wrote them. The code worked perfectly. That was the problem.